wonderfully well this evening. Hit the like and share button for us. It's a great way you can support the platform. It's been a long day today. Heavy night last night. Flying back to Ireland today. Take my son home. It's tough. But we're here. We're back again. We're here to talk about wonderfully well. Talk about the Jadon Sancho situation, which is really important. It's really important because there's news dropping all the time. And one thing we've tried our best to do here during this saga since March is show you what's been said, gauge your opinions on it, and then go from there. That's what I like looking at doing. I love some of these comments. By the way, hit that like and share button, please. There's been two really intricate pieces of news. I say intricate. Intricate is probably the wrong word. One's very ambiguous, the other fairly intricate. One, a big Jadon Sancho hint. A digital editor at the BBC has tweeted Sancho then. And that's all we've been told. Just Sancho then, nothing else. And on the other side, we have local press in Dortmund who have come out and said, and I'll quote what they've said here for you right now, that everybody at Dortmund expects Jadon Sancho to be on the aeroplane tomorrow to fly out to Switzerland for the pre-season training camp. He is expected. I want to delve into all of them. We're going to first of all go to the hint, the Sancho now hint. I want to know what you all think and feel about that. I've never heard of the guy that put it out there. I'm just going to search it and then go find this guy. What's his name? Is it Howard Nurse? Howard Nurse is his name. He's verified. It says here that he's you click on his profile and he's a digital football editor for the BBC. 43,000 followers as an example, and he just wrote Sancho then. Now, of course, no one knows exactly what that means. Absolutely nobody knows what that means. It's like, does it mean he's coming? Or does it mean what United going to do? I don't know. I have no idea what he means. It's so open-ended. It's so available for interpretation. You just read the responses from people. It means all sorts of things. And then we have, as I mentioned, the local press in Dortmund say that everybody at the club expects Jadon to be on the aeroplane in the morning to fly over. And that's where everybody's focus is going to be. That is where everyone's focus is going to be tomorrow morning. Does Jadon land in Switzerland? And I am so torn. By the way, we're going to open the Skype lines in a few moments so people can come on and have their say. But let me just say this to you right now. I am so torn on this. And one of the biggest reasons that I'm so torn is because I feel like Dortmund are under no pressure at the moment to sell. I don't think there's a deadline, but I don't think they're under any pressure. So I'm like, he might just turn up. Things aren't that desperate for them. But then there's another part of me that feels like, why did Dortmund keep pushing this notion that he's going to be there at training? He's going to be there at training. He's going to be there at training. Is he not going to be there at training? Is this a little bit of reverse? Not the glass of water over then. Is it a little bit of reverse psychology here? Are they trying to set up a notion where they can, again, try and make themselves look like the injured party if Jadon doesn't turn up? We thought he was going to be here. He told us he was going to be here. He hasn't arrived. Jadon Sancho's this, Jadon Sancho's that. We're going to get top dollar for him now and move on. It's like the deadline thing. Are Dortmund really going to turn down £120 million if the bid comes in Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday? Again, maybe that's what United are waiting for. Maybe United are waiting for the deadline to pass. They go, well, we know you're going to accept it anyway. We're just waiting for them because we don't want to sound like we're being dictated to. It's all kind of very much, my dad could beat your dad up. But there we go. There we go. Let's see what some of you are saying in these comment sections. You can call in, just dial, search Football Terrace on Skype. You'll find us and you'll see our logo. Come on there. Excuse me. Bit hay fever this evening, which is weird because I don't really get hay fever. Someone said there's going to be a big unveiling tomorrow at 2 p.m. People are obsessed with Man United doing transfer announcements at 2 p.m. Have any actually happened at 2 p.m.? I don't know. The answer is a question, but I wanted to know what you all think. Trust me, the deal will happen is what Top Dog said. Bro, I am so confident and relaxed about this deal. It's unbelievable. We've added Maz M to the stream. Maz M, what do you want to say, bro?
I'm one of two minds. Essentially, he doesn't show up. He is on a cab or whatever from London to Manchester, and announcement tomorrow, or he sells up, and right before the season starts, he signs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of. We know he's been in England. We know he's still in England right now. The flight is. I mean, I've had people send me stuff today about what companies own private jets, and there's this element of if he's in Luton tomorrow, that's where the jet's going to fly him back to Switzerland, but it's owned by a particular company. If he goes to Biggins Hill, which is an airport not far from me, that's the private airstrip where a lot of Man United's private planes go from. And I'm sort of like, it's just mad. Like, honestly, if I was Jadon Sancho tonight, I would check in Biggins Hill, and then I'd check in an hour later in Luton just to wind people up. I've had people sending flight plans to me. He's going to be here, there. And I'm not really delving into any of that because I don't understand it. And I try not to talk about things I don't understand so much. And for me, I think it's 10 o'clock Central European time. He's due in Switzerland. Come, what is that, 9 p.m., 9 a.m. in the UK? If we get to 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and he doesn't show up, you know the press are going to be everywhere. They are every major news outlet is going to send a journalist to every single private airstrip within the London area. They're going to be sending them to the private airstrips in Switzerland. They're going to be waiting at the buses where the players are being picked up, taken to the camp. It's going to be a crazy morning tomorrow in terms of transfer news. But I think this is part and parcel of it. This is the traffic right now that Dortmund's socials and Man United socials are getting is unbelievable. Right for me so far. This is probably the biggest transfer saga in the history of football, and I think we might announce him in the next day or so, and then it all goes away. But it's just mad. Every day there's 2 or 3 new bits of information out there from credible sources, and then you get these little cryptic things from Howard Nurse at the BBC. I love it. I genuinely love it.
So I don't love it or hate it. It's just, can we get this over with already? Can we sign him? Can we have a deadline day craziness? Because it's usually one or the other when it comes to like big players. Like Bale was sold on the last day of the window. So who knows what's going to happen, really?
Yeah, of course. There's always those elements as well that you have to take into consideration. And maybe it will go on that long. Maybe United are not willing to add the clauses that Dortmund want. Maybe there's elements like that, and United are saying, you know, we're just going to hold out. We're going to hold our nerve until the final moment. But we know we'll get the job done in the end. Maybe that's their thinking all along. It's a dangerous game to play. As I said, both teams want to come out of this looking like they won the battle, and I think that's what's caused a few of the problems here. But tomorrow morning is going to be really epic and fun in relation to that. I think social media is going to break tomorrow. Whatever happens, social media breaks. Whatever happens, it trends. You know,
I'm in the US, so sorry. I'm going to be sleeping. And when I wake up, hopefully there's not going to be my phone's going to blow up on notifications and be, Jadon Sancho, we have a music video. Maybe that's what he was doing in London, signing that music video.
I said that earlier. Like when we finished the stream, I was chatting to the boys because I stayed over last night after we had a bit of a family and friend shindig. And that was my train of thought. I was like, oh, he could be in London, you know, maybe filming a little thing. Who knows? Who knows? He might just been visiting family and friends. It may all be absolutely fine and above board, but so much is going on. Look at the stuff with Wilfried Zaha, like pointing at like people. So obviously someone saw him in a club and they sent up. I didn't know they still did that at clubs where you can like text in a message and someone's put like Zaha to Arsenal. There's so much going on, man. That's crazy. But bro, listen, I appreciate you coming on and having your say, man. Hopefully you wake up to good news tomorrow morning.
Thank you, man. You too.
Take care, my guy. Thank you. We've got a super chat here from Nick P. Long time, Nick P. He says, surely not going back doesn't help anyone. We don't really want any party unhappy. The deal is going to happen eventually. So it helps Man United, whether it depends how these things are done. If Man United are kind of like the aggressors and make Jadon do this, that happens. But United will just that's why though Ollie refuses to speak about players connected to other clubs, because then you can't be accused of anything. It's terrible, he's done this to you. Should we just try and get the deal done quicker? I think it works massively in Man United's favor if Jadon does that, personally, because it weakens Dortmund's position, because now the player becomes a bit of a problem. That's what, I mean, he didn't turn out to be a top player for us, but that's what Rojo did to get away. These things just happen. People take them into their own hands. We've got Shane back on the show. Shane, is he coming? Is he not? Where do you think he'll be tomorrow morning?
I don't think we're going to get a deal done tomorrow because of the fact that we've got a match tomorrow. So this is what I would say to us Man United fans: be patient with this deal. This deal will take time because obviously Dortmund want a lot of money for him. Man United don't want to pay as much, but the deal will get done because of how badly United want him. And with regards to that tweet, I think he needs to really give more detail on what he was trying to say there. But I do think Sancho will come, but I just don't think it'll be done when we have a match.
Yeah, so my view has always been this. When we were talking Friday about there being an announcement, I don't necessarily think the first tweet is, I'd love it to be a music video or something epic. I don't think it will be. I think there may end up being a bit of just a tweet saying that will be released almost simultaneously, that will say Man United and Borussia Dortmund have come to a financial arrangement over Jadon Sancho. Further details pending in the next few days. I think it'll almost be one of them. Does that make sense? Where it would just be like a holding statement, and it's like the financials are agreed, but now just got to thrash out the last few little bits. That's almost what I think. I don't think it'll be tomorrow. I almost feel like whatever happens tomorrow, the clubs will want to let it play out in terms of, if he's on the plane, there'll be carnage United's end. There'll be traffic, who are we going to sign? What's going to happen? What are we going to do? That will then allow the media then connect us to about 3,527 new players in that position. As an example, if he doesn't get on the plane, it will then just be full throttle. We told you this was happening. United are winning the battle of whatnot. And it will just go on from there. Then you'll get Dortmund posture and say, we're not going to have a player dictate to us, so it might not happen anyway. You'll probably get, if he doesn't get on the plane, you'll get some kind of statement that says the effects of, we'll let him rot in the stand if he disrespects. That's how it will play out. But either way, there'll be a big story. Whatever happens, there will be a big media story tomorrow surrounding this deal. When you follow transfer stories like I've done now for years on socials, you just see these same repetitive motions every year. And that's what I think will happen. And then maybe 2 or 3 days after that, United and Dortmund will come to. I'm getting a feeling now that Man United might just want to test the nerve and resolve of Dortmund, because Dortmund can give it a big one about if nothing happens Monday, he doesn't go. And then the £120 million bid they want comes in a day later and they accept it. Then it's like, well, you bullshitted for nothing. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. What Dortmund fans and what the world of them is saying to Dortmund is, well, you now cannot sell him because you said you wouldn't. Are you gonna yield on what you've stated? It's a bit like Liverpool, and this side we can't sign anybody because we don't have the money. I've said all along, like, they lose credibility if they then go and drop £50 million on someone. Now, they're not looking like they're doing that, so maybe everything they said was completely and utterly true. But to get where I'm coming from, you have to, if you make a bold statement, you have to at least stick to it for a certain period of time. Josh here, the super chat, says, love the show, mate. Keep up the great work. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. But there we go. Listen, Shane, thank you for coming on, my friend. We'll chat to you again soon, brother. Thank you. Remember, the Skype lines are open. Feel free to give us a call. Someone here called Sporting Future. Give us a call, Sporting Future, and we'll see what you're saying. Sancho said he would rather join Liverpool over Man United. Okay, I don't care if he said that now or in the past or whatever. Really not relevant in relation to that. We've got Mash coming on the show. Mash, What are you saying? Well, you're on mute right now, Mash. Unmute your line, my brother, and then we'll get you on the air. How you doing, bro?
Good morning, Terry.
Morning? Where are you?
I'm in Bangladesh, actually.
Ah, there we go. I'm about to say that's I say well, it must be. It's got to be morning somewhere. That's kind of how the world works. But yeah, what do you make of this? Obviously, it's gonna be like the afternoon or so for you when this news comes out. So we've got about 12 hours until this news really blows up. What you thinking, feeling in relation to it?
From what I've seen, it will go. We will get him. We will get Sancho, but I'm actually focused on other things. For example, we're hoping and that Sancho's going to be this piece. Like, for example, I know those positions are different, but what Van Dijk and Alisson was to Liverpool, like he's going to come in and he's going to help us get those clutch points in those games where we lost points last season. But I've looked into Sancho. He isn't like he's still pretty young, and he was injured in the 17-18 season for almost Dortmund. He missed games, like 13 games he missed in that season. He was injured.
Yeah,
and even when we came out of lockdown, we saw that he was not fit to the amount we think he should be fit to. So what I'm trying to say is we shouldn't be we shouldn't think that he's going to be that puzzle. We need a full complete squad actually to actually compete in the Champions League and in the Premier League, let alone the FA Cup and the Capital One Cup. So what I propose is, why don't we go out there in this climate where we have money? We haven't sacked anyone like Arsenal, so we literally have money. So why shouldn't we go out there and get some players in who will be squad players? Why is Man United board and the media, Man United media, pitching this out that this pandemic is we can't afford that much, we don't have the money? Why all this agendas coming out? I just don't get it. If Chelsea can do it, why not us?
It's about positioning yourself. One of the biggest mistakes Woodward made is years back when he stated that there's two big mistakes. One, he allowed himself to have a say on football transfers. He allowed himself to make big decisions on who we should buy or sell when he isn't qualified. That's now changed since Ollie's been there. The second, the biggest mistake though, was saying in an interview that the work that's been put on repeat since, that Man United can do things in the transfer market that nobody else can. What that led to is a hiking up in prices, a hiking up in salaries, which completely and utterly destabilized the dressing room. It meant the thing is, we spent £800 million ish circular before we started seeing success in the market under Ollie. If that wasn't 800 million, but it was more 500 million, it would still be frustrating, but it would be a significantly less amount of money that we spent, as an example. Equally, we would have got better deals for the players we sold. So at least it would have been a higher income for the players that went out. Because of those two things, poor decision-making from Woodward, followed with stupid mistakes from a PR point of view, it's cost us, in my opinion, hundreds of millions of pounds in additional outgoings. So what Man United have been doing since last summer is asserting themselves. We're not allowing ourselves to be bent over barrels in transfer deals. We're not allowing ourselves, and we've created great spin. Now I was saying that look how good Liverpool's spin doctoring has become. Today they signed their second choice backup fullback.
It was very brave of them.
Yeah, but that's not the point I'm making. He's a good player. The point is they wanted Jamal Lewis to be the backup. They didn't get Jamal Lewis because they didn't value him above £15 million. And I respect Liverpool for staying their grounds. They then went and signed their second choice. However, the way Liverpool Football Club have spun this through the media is that Tsimikas was always their number one choice. It's like, there was a few loose links to him before, like a week or plus ago. But all the talk was Jamal Lewis, the bid's gone in. The amount of Liverpool fans, the amount of journalists, like, it's all but done. It's almost through. It's over the line. Players desperate for it. And it didn't happen. But what I love about what Liverpool do is how they spin it to say, no, this is what we always wanted. And their fans just lap it up. But the reasons the fans are lapping it up is because the transfer success and, of course, the on-the-field success has been brilliant for the last 2 or 3 years. With Man United, because we've only seen improvements in the last year after 7 years of horrendous business and horrendous performances. People are not ready yet to completely and utterly believe. And, Liverpool fans would, honestly, I do think if Liverpool Football Club released a statement saying the world is flat, their fans would just go, yeah, it must be right, because it's FSG and Klopp saying it. They're that bought into them. They're that much in love with them. It's unbelievable. But listen, mate, I appreciate you coming on, having your say as always. We're going to do some more calls in a few moments. And as I say, again, this is not an attack at Liverpool. I think it's brilliant how they do the spin. The way Liverpool do their spin is second to none. There was even people today go, we use Jamal Lewis as a smokescreen to land. Is it pronounced Simicus? I learned his name earlier, and now I can't remember how to pronounce it properly. And I'm like, smokescreen for a backup player? No, you just didn't land the first one, so you signed the second one. And there's nothing embarrassing about that either. We've got Desmond on the line here. Desmond, welcome to the show. Who do you support, mate?
Hi, Terry.
How you doing? Who do you support, brother?
I'm fine. I'm Manchester United.
Top man, what do you want to say?
I honestly believe that the board, Ed Woodward and the Glazers, we need a director of football. I honestly believe we take too long to get deals done. If you look across to Chelsea, look at how quick they wrapped up Timo Werner. Look at how Manchester City go about their business. Nathan Aki was done in no time. I think we really need a director of football. I honestly believe we should have Sancho signed by now.
Let's start. Listen, I think you don't need a sporting director if you're not identified. For me, I think we've started to identify the right players. Every bit of business we have done since Ollie's been in is pretty much on point. Some deals get done faster than others. If Man United right now were looking to buy, let's say we wanted to buy Cantwell, or we wanted to buy Buendia, and it was £25 million, we're happy to pay it. We'd do it. It'd be a very quick, easy, simplistic deal. If Grealish would have got relegated with Villa, that would be a very quick and simplistic deal. It isn't. When you're going after, listen, this is going to be one of the biggest transfers in world history and the biggest in Premier League history. It's got bells and whistles on, and it's going to take time to get done. You simply can't get away from that. Look at Chelsea's situation. The Ziyech deal was a late deal. They tried to get him in January, couldn't get it done, did it afterwards. That was late, not early. The Werner deal had a buyout clause, and that still took from the beginning of March until June. That took 3 months with a buyout clause. The situation with Kai Havertz, they started negotiations with Leverkusen 3 to 4 weeks before Man United started talking to Dortmund, and they're much further apart than we are. So you're in the sort of situation where... Go on.
Look at how quickly Real Madrid did Gareth Bale transfer last season.
Who?
Real Madrid and Eden Hazard.
That was 2 years in the making, though. And Real Madrid paid instantly the money that was wanted. It went bang, done. It was, I think what I read was it was 100 million, 50 million up front, and then 25 million pounds for the next 2 years. That's what Chelsea wanted, and they got it. So again, there was no posturing. And they tried the summer before, remember, to get him. It didn't quite work. So you're talking about a deal that took 2 years. There was 2 summers worth of negotiations to get to that point. It wasn't out of the blue. They just phoned up Chelsea and put an offer in. This was years. And that's what we've got to understand. The vast majority of deals take a long time to get done. When they happen quickly, and I'm talking the high-end players, look at Real Madrid with Cristiano Ronaldo. That got done pretty early on in the summer of 2009. But they've been trying for 2 years prior. They'd had multiple conversations with us. They're intermediaries, multiple conversations with us. It wasn't just done between the end of the season and there. Transfers just do not work like that, my friend. So people have to relax and understand that nothing happening with the Sancho deal is outside of the norm. It's very, very, very normal to take this amount of time. It really is. Honestly, it really, really is quite. Look at Liverpool. Some of Liverpool's transfers under Klopp have happened quickly. Some have had to wait a whole year before they can get done. Some have had to delay by 6 months because they broke laws in the game. It really depends. But Des, I appreciate you coming on, having your say, my friend. I really do appreciate it. Next up on the show, we got Elite KJ. What you saying, my brother?
Yo, Terry, these pressmen are loving life right now.
Yeah. Oh, I've just seen
Absolutely
Christian
loving life.
Falk's tweet. He says, day of decision. It must be past. What's the time there? It's not. It's still. Anyway, he said this Monday, deadline day, 10th of August. Hang on, Michael. Is it pronounced? How do you pronounce Michael's surname? Is it Zorc?
I think it's Zorc.
Yeah, head of sports at Bayern Munich wants to comment the future and transfer poker of. Okay, that's poorly translated. I think what he's trying to say. I don't quite know what that means. I don't really know what that means. It just means that I think Dortmund are waiting for Man United to come forward and say something. I love it. I love this. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, it's a big risk by Man United, but Man United could make Dortmund look stupid if they make the bid on Tuesday and Dortmund accept it. Equally, if we wait till Tuesday and put the bid in and they say do one, we look stupid. it's I love it. I love it. It's great.
This is the weirdest transfer ever, because I'm like, most teams normally are like, all right, cool, we want to get this deal done, but we both want a certain price or a certain thing, so we'll just drag it on as long as we can until we both get what we want. With these men saying there's a deadline, yeah, they've just made this thing just an absolute spectacle. And it's just like, oh man, it's one of those ones where like, what I think one of the reasons why there's been so much pride in this deal and no one want to seem like they're the one losing out is because of this random deadline that Dortmund were like, yeah, we're gonna put this in place. I don't know why, but they've said they're gonna do it now, because now if they accept that bid, like you say, they're gonna look stupid. And it'll be like, what was the point of making this deadline?
Well, that's
really?
and that's the thing. If you listen to the Fabrizios, Jans, all these guys, they've all said it for days now. There's poker. And like I said before, I don't even feel like it's a bid. I honestly think that is the media oversimplifying what's going on. I think it's more to do, like I've said all along, with the legalities and the clauses in terms of we want these 4 or 5 things to get our money. No, we want them to be more convoluted than that. They'll never print that because no one understands half what goes on anyway. And I just feel like it's United is sitting there going, we're happy to do it, but maybe we'll wait until Tuesday to show them that we will not be dictated to. But then even if that does happen, this is why it's crazy and it's a waste of time what they're all doing. Let's just say United are happy to do the clauses in the way that Dortmund want, but we're going to do it on Tuesday as to show we're not dictated to. All Dortmund will say is, yeah, but now we've got an even better deal than what we wanted in the first place because they've had to pander to us. I just sit there and feel like, just come to the agreement and then both run off to your various... It's a bit... Do you know what it reminds me of? Remember when the fax machine situation with De Gea? Yeah, with the fax machine situation, I sort of sit there and feel like, Real Madrid tried to make it sound like Man United did something wrong. We come out and said, no, we did everything right. As an example, that became like a battle between who actually didn't submit the transfer and who didn't, as an example. I think Man United won that battle by the way that David De Gea, of course, signed a new deal with us. Imagine if we actually screwed him over. There's no way we're signing a new deal. Do you get what I mean? But yeah, it's so interesting. Prime's in here, isn't he?
Yeah.
All right. What's about you, mate? You all right?
Everyone can hear me, yeah?
Perfect, bro. Perfect, bro.
All right.
What you make it? You're neutral to this at the moment, sitting there as a Chelsea fan, obviously licking your wounds after last night.
Yeah, I mean, it shows that I'm not someone who drinks, and before the game, I went out and bought some.
What you make it? Rack. Thanks, Rack. Yeah, go on, Prime.
Sorry.
Yeah, with Sancho, fans have to realize that with signings like this, the top quality world-class players, whatever bracket you want to categorize players in, it can take it could take a long time. It could take 6 months, a year, maybe 2. Well, Hazard, like you said, it took about almost a year, maybe 2 years. Where Liverpool buying Van Dijk, they were supposed to get him in the summer. They didn't. They got him in January. Ronaldo going to Real Madrid from United. How long did that take?
It was a couple of summers, and that's the whole point. It's remember the year before we sold him, Real Madrid were told by Fergie publicly he wouldn't sell you a virus or sell you a cold or whatever. And of course things got better, and that's because what I assume, I don't know any details about that. I'm sure that the way Real Madrid came in was it sounded like they came crashing in with their size 10 boots on, barking orders, and Man United were like, no, and that's what it comes down to. It's about market. It's about trying to gain the authority in this, and Dortmund have a rich history of being good in negotiations. Man United in recent years don't, and I think that's what's going on here. It's annoying in some respects. Rack, what's your views, mate? I mean, your club, the best spin doctors in the world at Liverpool. I honestly, I went through. So I was in the airport today because I have a big gap between when I drop my son off when I fly back, because I used to book almost just the first flight back after I drop him off, but missed it a few times with delays. So I normally have like a 4-hour wait. I sat there right after the Simicus deal, and I was just looking for people that were even remotely linking him to. And there are 2 or 3 kind of very wide-ranging articles from about a week ago saying that you're looking at him as an option. But no credible journalist, no fan, no one was talking about this guy. It was just there, like there was just nothing in it. And then suddenly it's like, oh yeah, he was our number 1 choice. But I actually respect it. I respect how not only did Liverpool put that out. No, none of us believe it. Like it's literally, I feel like Liverpool telling us that. It's like my dad trying to tell me right now that Santa's real. Do you get what I mean at this age? But I love how Liverpool fans are like, no, it was definitely our first choice. None of us have heard of him. None of us, but he was definitely our first choice. But yeah, there we go. What do you make, Rack, of this Sancho situation? What's your gut telling you is going to be the outcome tomorrow morning? Will he be in Switzerland or will he not?
I mean, that's a very specific question. I have no idea what his travel plans are. So, Prime kind of stole my thunder there. So thanks, Prime. But yeah, I was basically going to say something similar, that these things sometimes they take time. And if there's that meme where that kids, where the family are driving to somewhere when they say, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" Just like football fans are a bit like that. Like at the end of the day, you go into work and you come back from work and is the transfer done yet? Wake up in the morning, your transfer done yet? Like, these things sometimes they take time. Like, relax. We've still got the transfer window doesn't shut until 5th of October or something like that. And obviously we want to get players early.
Most football fans think buying a player is like going to the shop and being like, "Oh, here's the money you want," and have so, we're talking about hundreds of millions of pounds here.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're also talking about something that isn't for sale.
Yeah.
So if you're buying something that's for sale or has a buyout clause, it's very simplistic. If you go to a car showroom, even if you don't offer the full amount and you make a deal, they're trying to sell those cars. If you turn up at someone's house and I'm like, "I want to buy your car off you," that's a much harder conversation. I'm not selling my car. I'll make you an offer. That's a much different situation. It's people got to understand it. So Jan has now translated the comments from the head of sports at Dortmund a bit better. He basically said that Dortmund will comment on their own deadline day. And his quote was, "Who will lose face? Who will lose a wanted star?" And it's literally, Dortmund are even playing. This is the maddest thing because it's for traffic. Because Dortmund know everyone is refreshing. And I know we're all doing this, by the way. How many times a day are we refreshing our timelines, and certain journalists and certain clubs waiting for an announcement? I've also seen both clubs advertise a lot of shit in the last few days as well. Why? Because everyone's on their pages. It's just there. And it's like, it's true. Someone will lose face and someone will lose a star. And it's either. And that's almost a situation they put, man. That's how they've tried to position this now. This is the irony of it. Like Liverpool today, I know it's a backup player, it's not a big player, but Liverpool today have signed their second choice backup left back, but it's been turned into a positive. Man United could land their main number 1 target, and it will be spun as a negative if we do it tomorrow. It will be spun as you've got your wanted star, but you lost face doing it. That's how it's going to be done. So that's why I understand why Man United, from an ego point of view, might say, "Well, we're going to do it Tuesday," because we don't think Dortmund And this is where United need to trust the people that have done the due diligence and the intermediary work. Because if they've been told they will accept it no matter what, then United can wait till Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If they've got bad people doing the due diligence, they can have egg on their face. And that's why, although I don't want it to go wrong for my club, it's why I'm so intrigued by this.
But I guess it's also one of those things that, at the end of the day, from a Manchester United fan's perspective, and you could argue from Dortmund's perspective, if they're happy to take 120 million, as long as it gets done, it gets done. Because probably in 6 months' time, not many people are probably going to remember the ins and outs and the kind of minutiae of the deal and when it happens. And look, you know, if Sancho shows up for you guys, does what you expect him to do, then you know, you don't. If you guys paid 120 million, whether you pay it tomorrow or you know, at the end of August or whatever, it's not really going to make much of a difference because you'll have a world-class player in your rank. So
yeah. I just
Question.
feel. Yeah, go on, mate. Go on, bruv.
If Sancho was staying, like completely staying, why would they make this deadline day announcement so big?
Well, this is the one thing that doesn't make any sense. That's a great point. And what doesn't make sense is there's two things. You can't have demanded 120 million pounds, and you can't have set Man United a deadline if we're to believe your other comments in the last few days that there's been no contact. Because why would you set us a deadline if there's been no contact? And it isn't a deadline to make contact; it's a deadline to submit the bid. But how do we know what the bid is unless there's been conversations? Because what we all know, and again, this is where the media will try and dumb it down for viewers, is it's never going to be 120. Someone says, "Oh, you're going to pay 120 million pound for him?" No, we're going to pay 70 million pound first of all. There's going to be around euros, around 30 million euros that will be paid over the next 3, 4, 5 years, and then the last 20 odd will be performance related. So it isn't a 120 million pound bid. It's a package of that amount with clauses and detailed intricacies. How would we have gone through that level of detail with somebody that we've had no contact with, whether it's direct or through an intermediary? So the point is that there's been so many lies told by both sides the whole time anyway. But you've got a great point there. I'd love the other boys' opinions. Why would you set a deadline there and make it so big unless something massive was going to be announced tomorrow?
Honestly, I think Sancho will go to the training camp. I reckon they'll be like, "Oh, it's Sancho is just we're gonna go ahead as normal. Nothing's happening. Blah blah blah," and then we'll end up buying him anyway. And then they'll be like, "Well, this is what happens in football. Or sometimes the offer comes in that you can't refuse." And it's like, what's with all the fronting? That's what I don't get. What's with the front?
Yeah, it's just a bargaining tactic, isn't it? I mean, it is pretty transparent, but at the end of the day, you'll get some fans kind of getting all het up about it, saying, "Man United, pay the money," and then, you know, sometimes that may kind of, if you're not such a well-run club and you haven't got great negotiators, then that might filter down into your own actions, your own response to that. But I mean, it's just posturing, really.
It could also just be, like I said as well. I think there's an element of wanting to save face, but then I have another train of thought, and this is what I love about it because my mind just is spinning with it the whole time. This could just be both clubs doing what they can to cream in as much money as possible through this deal, because look at the traffic it's creating. It's crazy. I mean, I don't know what some of these journalists are going to do when this deal's over. I don't know. Like,
well, there will be some kind of deadline, I imagine. Like, you know, if I don't think Dortmund will let him go on the 5th of October, for example. I think there will have to be a come time for both Man United and for Dortmund to either put up or shut up, depending on how you want to kind of set it. But
Deadline, what, 8th of October or something? That's the real deadline. This is what I don't get. That then, like, the transfer window would never be open until after the 10th, after tomorrow. Like, it's all mad. This transfer is mad. It's turning my head upside down. Why is everyone so proud in this football team, fam?
Do you know what, though? From Man United's point of view, like, if this isn't a market employer, I understand why we're doing it, and I understand that we have made ourselves a laughing stock in the market over the last 7 years, overpaying, underselling. And I said it to previous caller, all that sort of stuff around, we can do things in the market nobody else can. don't tell people that. Like, don't tell nobody that, you know. And I think United, and I think what something Ollie's pushing, you saw that. And okay, we got told this back in lockdown, and it was one of the big reasons why I went back to back in Ollie, and it's been reaffirmed again. Woodward only gets involved in transfers in the transfer cycle now when it comes to the financial element of it and the contractual and legal parts. That's what he's good at, the commercial side. When it comes to picking the players, Ollie has final say. So if there's 3 players that the club like, and Woodward and Matt Judd go, no, we think option A, and Ollie's like, no, we're doing option B, then they go with option B. They've set that in stone. It's contracted in now. And that's why I've got a lot of faith as well. We've got to remember, for 7 years, we didn't have football minds making football decisions. You know, experienced scouts, world-class managers were being told no to certain players over other people. So yeah, it is mad, it is crazy. But I also understand why Man United are now trying to do that. You know, in terms of everything else. But as I say, we'll see what happens in the next sort of few hours in relation to that. But Rack, just actually, go on, mate. Go on.
Sorry. I was going to say, is there any way for both teams to come out of this looking good, like, at all? Or is it always going to be one?
If Man United pay 120 million but get Jadon Sancho, they'll be happy. If Dortmund get their 120 million, they'll be happy. I think that's still win-win in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm personally don't look. This is what I know. It doesn't matter what Man United do. We could sign Jadon Sancho and announce a cure for a deadly disease tomorrow. Our rivals will find a way to make that negative. As an example, a lot of the media will find a way to make that, and it'll go in cycles, by the way. In another 3 or 4 years, if Man United are highly successful, all they will do is praise our club again, and it'll vastly praise as example, and a team will struggle. It's just a cycle that things go in terms of that. You know, a lot of Man United fans like negative news at the minute, so the news is negative. When that changes because we become successful again, so will the media's tone. The media are just selling you stories, and I get why they do what they do now. I've kind of got over this whole attack the media thing, because I'm just thinking, well, if you don't buy them or click on it, they have no impact on your life. If you're reading it though and you're buying it, that's actually on you, not them. But yeah, I think from my point of view, I don't care. I don't care if we end up paying an extra 5 million, 10 million pound for him. I just want him. So I'm kind of cool. I actually think 108 million pound is below market value. So I'm still happy with that. That is less money than all the major consultancies having valued at. So I'm still happy with that deal. I still think it represents good value for money. Not that we're looking to sell him anytime soon. So I'm happy days.
And to be fair, like, you know, we were having a discussion the other day with David about Moneyball and Liverpool, whether it's Moneyball or not. Like, if Sancho becomes a world-class player, and he ends up playing for Man United for the next 10 years, that's a Moneyball signing. Because if you look at the value of that transfer fee, obviously you got wages on top, that it works out exceptionally cheap. It's like when you bought Ferdinand for 30 million. At the time, that was
27.
Oh yeah. So it was 27. Excuse me. But you know, he played for United for like 10 years. Yeah. So it worked.
Exactly. And I think that's absolutely right. And it's like anything. We paid 47 million for Bruno Fernandes, which can rise to 65 million when all add-ons are done, if they're all done. Have you noticed that when it was done, it was all 65 million? If you notice that because he's been so successful, have you seen any article where his price tag or his salary is mentioned, or is kind of the main factor? Because no one cares, because he's done so well. And if Sancho comes in and does for us what he's been doing for Dortmund, it doesn't matter if we're paying him £1 million a week. The only people that will care is if we win something. Rivals go, you paid for it. But obviously we saw. Did you guys see the thing that was released today that shows all the inflated totals of transfer spend in the Premier League, like in Premier League history, and I think including inflation prices, Liverpool have spent 200 million more than Man United, and they're at like 3.4 billion or whatever. And I just liked it because it's like clubs sit there like, oh, we don't spend money, you do. It's like, no, you do, you all do. So I don't care. Like what was interesting though, you see Arsenal, right? Including inflation prices, Arsenal's is like 2.2 billion, which is like, if you look at all the teams that have started to or have won more than them or are now in a better position, everyone's at least 800 million to $1 billion plus more than them spent, which is just but that's now bottomed out. So that shows you got to spend money now if you want to keep up with people. But there we go. I did want to ask Prime a question. I'm very confused about something. Do you think you could help me?
Okay.
So I watched some highlights back in the airport today, and I saw a Chelsea player who created one chance for his team. Okay. He completed 3 of the 7 dribbles that he attempted, meaning less than 50% of his dribbles were actually completed. As an example, he had 1 shot in a game that wasn't on target. As an example, pass completion rate of 82%, forward pass completion rate of passes going forward was at less than 70%. And I've got timelines popping off because Callum Hudson-Odoi swapped shirts with Thiago. People are talking about Hudson-Odoi's performance last night. His average rating across 6 different publications was between 5 and 6, right? Why are people raving so? Why are Chelsea fans raving about Hudson-Odoi today? What did he do that was so brilliant apart from score a goal that wasn't a goal?
I don't know. I watched the game. And yeah, I was criticizing the team and stuff after the game. And people are like, well, Hudson-Odoi played well. And people talking about the goal. But first of all, the goal was offside, so it doesn't count. He had a few moments, I guess, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I think Chelsea fans are so desperate for him to work out because after backing it with your chest, calling him this and that and generational, and Terry's, I can see if you're laughing, and it hasn't worked out. There's desperation there.
Yeah,
for me, I'm someone who, when it comes to like young players coming from our academy and playing for the first team, yeah, it's great, the fantasy about it. But realistically, all I care is my team doing well and winning trophies. I don't care if you're from the youth academy or we have to spend 200 million.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I've got no issue with Hudson-Odoi. I've got an issue with people that are talking about like when I was reading Twitter this morning, one of the reasons I was so excited to watch the highlights was to see the performance from Hudson-Odoi. Why? He's a young English boy. He's an Englishman. He plays with my club on his, like my country on his chest. Like, of course I want him to be good. And I watched him and I just thought, and what it confirmed for me, it was a bit in the end confirmation bias in me. Well, maybe not, because I didn't seek it out to confirm my point. I just went to watch a game of football. But so maybe it isn't confirmation bias, probably the wrong way to describe it. But I just looked at it and thought it proves something I have a long-standing belief. If you've got good tricks and flicks and skills, it elevates a 6 out of 10 performance to an 8 out of 10 performance in people's minds. But I was like watching it. There was a really good bit of skill where he sat a man down. Nothing happened after that. And I'm like, great, but what happened? Nothing. I'm just maybe I'm just boring. I don't know what it is, but I sit there and I think to myself, Chelsea fans are going to set him up for failure because he had a few good moments in a very poor game. By the way, this is the game you lost 4-1 in. Like you don't. I was shocked. I was shocked. It's shocked.
I mean, like I said, sorry, go on.
No, you go. It's your player, so you talk about it.
He's my player. Yeah, I mean, like I said, because they hyped him up and set him for this path of being one of the best. It's a thing of now, he hasn't had the best season, and that's been due to injuries and other factors, which I understand, so I'm not going to hold that against him. But my thing is just let young players, grow and develop and don't put that pressure on them. That's why I talk about even the likes of Greenwood and Saka, who have had an amazing season. I'm someone who's like, for like we United fans and Arsenal fans, don't put the pressure on them because next season or the season after, they will go through a dip in form and they will have bad performances or terrible performances.
Yeah.
And that's not something to beat them up about. It's something that they can go and learn.
And I get that. And I think for me, it's a case of say what it was. He had a good performance. Though. He was good. He wasn't great. I mean, I was expecting something out of this world, and I just thought What? And that's the thing. It's someone tells you that like a movie is absolutely best movie I've ever seen in my life. Suddenly you have an expectation it's gonna be really good, and then you watch it and go, yeah, didn't do it for me.
Marvel, mate. But that's what that is.
Sorry, mate.
Like in my opinion, the best player on the pitch.
Marvel.
I didn't hear either of you then. Sorry. Go on, KJ.
I said that what you're describing is the film Captain Marvel.
Yes.
I see. No, but I quite liked Captain Marvel. But then, do you know why I liked it? Because everyone said it was so bad, and I had to watch it because obviously only a few weeks later, Endgame was coming out, and you couldn't not watch it because I think you'd lose something if that made sense. So, like,
Not necessarily.
I feel like I always feel like you have to watch. Like, look, you can just watch Endgame as a standalone, but if you watch the whole thing, it'll make more sense. That's why I went and see it. But I was surprised because everybody told me how bad somebody was, and I think that's
really.
Yeah, no, because everyone told me. I think it's because, like I said, I went in thinking this is going to be the worst Marvel movie ever. That's what I was told. I think I was pleasantly surprised because I thought it was going to be a lot worse than it was. Where if you go into it thinking
people were gassing it so highly, I was like, okay, cool, this is going to be sick. And I got in there, I was like, yo, this is quite.
Right, but everybody did that but they did that with the Ghostbusters.
Are you a Marvel fanboy?
Me.
Fan man,
I'm not. I'm not a fanboy of anything. I just like what I like. If something's bad, I say it's bad. If it's good, I say it's good. But they did the same thing when the Ghostbusters reboot came out. Like every review I read from the professional reviewers and the press was wow. And then I watched it and I was like, I didn't even laugh.
It was awful.
It was. But if you criticize that film, you got like that was one of those things on social media. Do not criticize Ghostbusters, otherwise you'll get cancelled. And I was like, this is mad. And I felt Captain Marvel got a little bit of that. Now, I thought the film was good. I liked it. That makes sense. I'm not against it. The issue I do have with people criticizing Captain Marvel is that most people just seemed more annoyed at the fact that the strongest Avenger was a woman. That seemed to really rattle a lot of people.
No. I think it's due to the fact that she's not the strongest Avenger.
She is, isn't she?
Wait, no, but she is.
No, she's not.
In the film, she is.
Brian, before we go taking this back to football, how is she not, bro?
I'm going. Well, I think Scarlet Witch is the strongest Avenger.
Oh, okay. That's semi-debatable.
I think for me, it's based off the fact that we don't know what she can do yet. But this is about football, not about.
Well, you know, this is the debate of outputs versus potential. Let's bring it back to football. You got Scarlett.
That's it, KJ. You do it, man.
And then you've got someone like Captain Marvel, who's pulling up the numbers, who's cleaning Mason Greenwood.
Exactly. So Scarlet Witch could be, but until she shows us she is, do you know what I mean? I don't know what she can do. No, I agree. But no, I think for me, when it comes to the Hudson-Odoi thing, I feel the same about Odoi as I do about Tammy, and everyone knows. Go back to the beginning. I rated Tammy. I still think it'll be a really good player, but it was just next Drogba. He's this. He's going to be that. I remember Chelsea fans the whole of September and October. He's got to start in front of Harry Kane for England now, and I'm saying, slow down, hold your horses, Billy boy. Like it's a madness. It really was a madness, but
it's because this is the first time we've had actual youth products come out that are playing consistently in the first team. And I think it's a lot of Chelsea fans just don't know how to act.
I hear that. I do hear that. But boys, listen.
And also with Callum, before you end it, also with Callum, it's like because he got his new contract last season, he's now on too much money to a point where we can't loan him out.
Yeah, well, without having to pay a fairly sizable percentage of it. But listen, boys, I appreciate you coming on. I'm actually back to the 9 to 5 day job from tomorrow. Not in the office straight away, but I will be soon. So I will be live at some point tomorrow. Of course, trying to keep myself waiting for this news. I swear to God, if you ain't on that aeroplane, it's going to go off. Either way, it's going to go off. Either way, it's going off.
You're the hardest working man in show business, man.
I wouldn't say that.
Smash a like for Terry.
Cheers, boys. I appreciate everyone. Everyone who's
money for Turkey, you know.
Slap head. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you very, very much as always. Hit the like button, hit the share button. I'm back again tomorrow. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.